Anybody watch Jimmy Kimmel?
I believe we're streaming.
Oh,
Board
great.
Member Dominguez, we are now streaming.
Thank you, Mr. Gonzalez, and welcome everybody to this morning's Board of Education Finance Committee meeting. And I would like to call the meeting to order. Dr. Albright, may we please have a roll call, please?
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Here.
Heather Benavides,
Here.
Josefina Dominguez,
Here.
Crystal Tapia Romero.
Okay, so we are on to the second item on our agenda adoption. Could I please have a motion and a second to adopt the September 24th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting agenda?
I move that we adopt the September 24th, 2025 Finance Committee meeting agenda. This is Board Member Benavides.
I will second Board Member Tomorito.
Thank you. May we please have a roll call vote?
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavides,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes. Third item on the agenda is the minutes approval. May I please have a motion and a second to approve the minutes from the Finance Committee meeting of August 27th, 2025?
I move that we approve the minutes of the Finance Committee meeting of August 27th, 2025. This is Board Member Benavides.
I will second Board Member Tomorito.
Thank you. And may we please have a roll call vote?
Ronaldo Tomorito,
Yes.
Heather Benavides,
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez.
Yes. Next on the agenda is public forum comments limited to agenda items. Comments shall be limited to the matters listed on this meeting's agenda, please. Welcome to our
Chair
public.
Dominguez,
Do we have anyone?
thank you. I apologize. We did not have any sign up for public forum this morning.
Okay, then I am going to skip over all of that and we're going to move on to item number 5, discussion items to be considered for committee approval. Our next item to be considered for approval and perhaps discussion is the August 2025 interfunction transfers for grant budget. Oh, it's a discussion, so. Oh, all right. Well, and now it's also an approval, so do I need a?
No, we just
Do I
discussed
get any
and then we
motion?
approve all together and it'll go on the consent agenda for the next meeting.
Okay, great. Nice and easy.
Mhm.
So, is there any discussion regarding the interfunction transfers for grant budget?
Madam Chair, Board Members, Superintendent Dr. Blakey, I do have Ms. Marin on the meeting to discuss this item.
Okay, I'm going to get back to the agenda. Because I do have questions. But at this moment, the questions are mostly about where in this agenda is it appropriate to discuss? I had questions. Let's see. Panorama and the renewal, because I've come across some new information that we were not aware of previously. I was not aware of previously, and I had no idea that the state has purchased it for 6th through 12th grade. So I wanted to ask, at what point may I ask how we have adjusted our purchasing for that new status?
Is it on the agenda, Board Member?
Well, I don't know, I'm asking where would be the appropriate place in the agenda to ask those questions? And maybe we just request that it be put on next month's agenda then.
Board Member Dominguez, it is not an agenda item, so you can ask through RFI.
Okay. Problem with RFI is there's never a public discussion, right? So,
Board
yes,
Member
I'll
Dominguez,
proceed.
there's also on the governance manual, there is steps on if you would like to add it to an agenda.
Correct.
So if
Yes.
you'd rather have it as an agenda item, you would go through the procedures to add it as an agenda item.
And I think I remember a lengthy discussion about that under the RFI policy. Thank you. So, if there's no discussion for this item,
I have a quick question, Board Member Dominguez.
okay.
This is an expenditure. When did it happen? If anybody on the call can answer that question, and maybe it's in one of the reports that we're going to review. And if that's the case, then I think that that's appropriate for it to be discussed.
Board Member Benavides, are you asking about the panorama when it was purchased?
Yes, or whatever Josefina is referring to in terms of, I mean, when was the expenditure made? That's the only way I can think it would be relevant to a discussion during this Finance Committee meeting.
Okay, we'll have to look into that
Okay.
to see when it was made.
Okay, so then we will just get back to the agenda if that's okay with everyone.
Board Member Tomarito, are you good with moving on?
Yes, I am.
Okay. The second item is consideration of approval of the August 2025 intra-function transfers for grant budget. And presenters are Ms. Apodaca and her
Thank you.
staff.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board Member Superintendent Dr. Blakey, again, I have Ms. Marin, if she can please present this item.
Certainly. Thank you. Good morning, board members. Board Member Dominguez, Board Member Superintendent Blakey. We are presenting for your consideration of approval the intra-function transfers for grant management for the month of August 2025. They include the reversion of the title funding due to the federal unfreeze. Remember that there is a time delay in that. Out of the holding accounts, aligning for the priority school positions in Medicaid and alignments to approved applications, budget, and program needs. And with that, I stand for questions.
Do my fellow board members have any questions?
I don't.
So one quick question, how do we know that we are, what can you tell us about the spend down? Are we spending down our grant money on time, in a timely manner?
Board Member Dominguez, members of the board, Superintendent Blakey. Based on my knowledge, we monitor the spending and percentual of spending on a quarterly basis. And I'm not sure if Dr. Blea is on this call, but I know that she has implemented a quarterly update for all programs and schools on where they are with their spending, how the district can support them to be more efficient on their spending, so we can use this year's funds on this year's students. And I believe I just noticed her jumping in for any additional details.
Yes, Board Member Dominguez, committee members and Superintendent Blakey, that's correct. We do have quarterly spend down meetings. The first one is next month. with the freeze and unfreeze of some of the federal funds that kind of put us back a little bit. But the goal is that we remain on target, especially with Oracle coming on board. We really do have a lot of hard deadlines that we need to meet. And so we are working with schools and departments to make sure they have the tools needed to see where their spend down is.
And in particular, could you tell us where we stand with the grant that the young student presented about at our last board meeting? I believe he had worked to get a grant so that we could expand PSAT test taking opportunities. Any updates on that?
So Committee Member Dominguez, members of the committee, Superintendent Blakey, not at this time. That is something we can get you at a later date.
Okay, because I know PSAT is right around the corner, right? Isn't it October when, I don't expect you to know that, but I as a former teacher, I know that it's, yes, Heather.
Thank you, Chair Dominguez. That's not a grant. It was an appropriation, and I believe it's about $2 million. And it, as far as I know, because I read the memo yesterday from PED, it went to PED, and the districts were supposed to. And I can see Daniel has his hand up, and he can probably correct me. He has a deeper understanding. But as far as I understood, the schools were supposed to order the tests, and then PED would pay the cost of the tests for all the students, and that money wasn't necessarily coming to the district. But Daniel, please correct my understanding.
Good morning, Chair Dominguez. Thank you, Board Member Benavides, Superintendent Blakey. Thank you, Board Member Benavides, for bringing this to our attention, and the student who was looking into this. We did some research, and we were able to find that, yes, indeed, it was an appropriation, and it was passed a few years ago, and it is with the Public Education Department. And so what we're doing with our government affairs department is we're tracking, we have a growing list of items that are with PED that have not been dispersed to our district. And so we're adding to the list, and we'll be researching this in the coming weeks, and we'll get back to you as I think this is an important item for us to track.
Okay, so this is, if I understand correctly, we're Mr. Manzano is going to work with legislative liaisons to investigate what's happened to these monies.
Yeah, the good thing is the Public Education Department has been very open and communicative. And so in tracking down, we're creating this running list of different funds that we're waiting for disbursement on. And we're adding this to the list, and I'll be in touch with them, find out the status or where we're in the process, and report back.
Okay, disbursement from PED, huh? Even so, all appropriations go through PED?
That's correct. They're the fiscal agent for anything that's kind of below the line funding. So it gets dispersed to them, and then we get to that. Is that correct, Dr. Blea?
Fiscal agent for below the line disbursement. Did we get a nod? Okay. Board Member Benavides, yes.
Yeah, thank you, Chair Dominguez. I just want to give a quick shout out to the student who brought this to my attention and who worked so hard on it. I believe his name is Walter Bradford, and I'm hoping I'm not getting his first name wrong. I took it down really quickly at an event, but he's a very bright young man, and his initiative that he took to work with legislators to do this is really, really commendable and impressive. And so thank you, Mr. Bradford, and good luck in your future endeavors if you're listening.
We'll send him a clip. Okay. So any more discussion on this item? If not, seeing none, we're going to move on to item 5.3. Consider approval of August 2025 interfunction transfers for all non-categorical funds. And the presenters are Renette Apodaca and Renette Apodaca.
Okay, thank you. Madam Chair, Board Member, Superintendent Dr. Blakey, the item before you is a consideration of the interfunction in operational funds. It totals 80,000. 3 of the 4 transfers use general funds, and the remainder uses international baccalaureate funds, and that was for teacher PD and membership fees.
And so I
Time
heard,
for questions, yes.
so these are all operational funds.
Correct. They're non-categorical, which are the operational funds.
And so in the note, it says we're moving from funds from one part of the budget to another, but to non-instructional supplies? From
No,
instructional.
that was an example. In the note,
Oh,
we put an explanation and then we put an example for you to just show that the budget isn't growing. It's just moving these funds where they're needed.
okay. But is that what we're doing today? We're moving funds from instructional supplies, or is that just, like you said, an example?
That's an example. If you look at the summary, it's part of the packet. In the summary, it shows the decrease and increase, so you can see what was decreased and where it went to.
Could you tell me are we on page 15 of the packet?
You know what,
15
mine
of-
doesn't say 15 because I believe mine's a little bit different, but it is labeled as the summary.
Right, but we have lots of them.
Yes, so I
and
apologize
so,
for that.
let me see here.
Because mine is showing page 45 of 209. So that's why I say I think it's a little different from the
Right.
package.
Yes, yes, it is. Okay, that's fine. Any questions? And you'll have to forgive me because the minute I start scrolling, the rest of you disappear from my site.
No questions.
s-
Dominguez.
Pardon me?
No questions here. Thank you.
Great. Then hearing none, then we're gonna move on to item 5.4. Consider approval of August 2025 intra-function transfers for all non-categorical funds. And I hope I said that. The difference being we're now into intra-function.
Correct. Mhm. So, Madam Chair, Board Member, Superintendent Blakey, in your packet, again, you have the intra function for non-categorical or operational funds. And this is for 2 million, and 187 was for transportation funds, 4,000 were athletic funds, 124 in facility enterprise funds, and 30 million in capital funds. And again, in your packet, you have a summary, and then you have all the detail also for the summary.
Get the right thing, intra-function transfer.
Correct.
Any questions? And you'll have to speak up because, like I said, when I scroll, the rest of you disappear.
No questions here. This is Board Member
Rem-
Benavides.
Board Member Tomorito, any questions?
Board Member Tomorito, you're on mute.
No questions.
Good. Moving on to item 5.5. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for the purchase of 6 passenger buses. Yay. And presenters are Renette Apodaca, Antonio Gonzalez, Deputy Superintendent of Operations, and Royce Binns, Executive Director of Transportation Services.
Good morning, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Superintendent Dr. Blakey. We stand before you today for your consideration of approval to purchase 6 new buses, 271 passenger and 448 passenger. These funds are provided by the New Mexico Public Education Department, and this purchase is in accordance with the New Mexico Procurement Code, Federal Uniform Guidance, and APS procurement policy. The purchase will go through Cooperative Education Services, and the estimated amount for these six buses is $903,646 using New Mexico Public Education grant funds and transportation funds. As you can see, I'm joined by Mr. Binns. We seek your approval and stand for your questions.
Thank you.
Here, thank you, Dr. Gonzalez. Go ahead, Chair Dominguez. Just wanted to let you know there's no questions for me.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Board Member Tomarito, no? Great. Well, I know we sorely need buses, right? Do we have the bus drivers?
We do.
Yay.
These are actually welcome because they have AC on them coming in. So
very nice. Welcome news. Thank you. With no other questions, I'm going to move on to item 5.6. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $500,000 for New Mexico produce growers. And presenters are Dr. Gonzalez, Deputy Superintendent, Operations, Murray Johnson, Executive Director, Food and Nutrition Services, and Ms. Apodaca, Chief Financial Officer, and Adrian Sanchez, Executive Director of Procurement. Wow, this is requires a lot of people here for procurement.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, we stand for your consideration of approval for an expenditure that exceeds $500,000 for New Mexico produce growers. This is basically in accordance with the law where we procure New Mexico grown foods for our students in our cafeterias. This is in accordance with the APS Board of Education Purchase and Project Approval Procedural Directive, and in accordance with the New Mexico Produce Growers Act. We've used the State of New Mexico Procurement Code, and the amount of this expenditure is $800,000 using federal funds. We stand for your questions and seek your approval.
Any questions from my colleagues?
No questions here. Thank you.
No question.
Okay. I think this is wonderful, right? I mean, I like giving local business our business. So, yes. Thank you. Moving on to item 5.7. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds $500,000 for appliances, commercial and residential, and discount from a list. And we have many. I'm going to let Dr. Gonzalez take the lead in introducing his speakers.
Yes, ma'am. Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, we stand before you for consideration of approval for the purchase that exceeds $500,000 for appliances or commercial residential supplies from a discounted list. This basically enables us to engage in standard operating procedure in supporting the work of food and nutrition services centrally and at our individual school kitchens. This is in accordance with the APS Board of Education Purchase and Project Approval Procedural Directive, as well as the New Mexico Procurement Code, federal uniform guidance, and APS procurement policy. This will be a multi-award utilizing APS bid, and it will be for 4 years in the amount of $4 million using capital, grant, and operational funds. We stand for your questions and seek your approval.
Madam Chair, Board Member Superintendent Blakey, real quick, this contract is as needed contract. So it's only if we need to purchase. The vendors aren't guaranteed a minimum of work, and we're able to cover different items, and we get a discount off list on the pricing. So again, it's as needed, no minimum guarantee.
Good to know.
It's good to know. Board Member Tome Warito, any questions or comments?
Yeah, I just have one question. I just wanted to know about, I see Andrea Sanchez on there as a student outcomes focused governance framework coach. And you're just saying that we're not using there's no specific amount stated for them, but they're just on the list, correct?
We have a list of vendors. Let me look at what you're talking about real quick.
Page is that on?
It's
Please.
on, I just pulled up the RFP. Let's see, it's the pending or recently awarded bids and RFPs. That's why I was wondering if it was, since you stated in the beginning there was no amount, but this one says recent, I don't know if it's pending, recently awarded bid, and RFPs, but this one has RFP by it.
What document are you in?
I don't know, I just clicked on it and it opened up. Hold on, let me get it. Hold on.
Is it on this agenda item?
It is on, you know, when you go into that last sheet,
into the board report.
hold
So
on.
what
The cash disbursements that you're looking at, Ronalda?
It must be under the cash disbursements. I'm probably in procurement.
That's at the,
Yeah,
that's
you
at
see
the-
when you go under the I'll show you. If you go into the report, board report, appliance and commercial and residential, you'll see
Yeah.
a listing of the board report of vendors. And then you
Yeah.
go down below that invitation for bid 26009 MS appliances, commercial and residential. That link, click on that link. Okay, then you'll see pending or recently awarded bids and RFPs. Then scroll down. You'll go down to keep going right under claims payment and integrity. It's an RFP right underneath there, RFP 26-016AS. And it says
Yes.
student outcome focused governance framework coaching. So I didn't know.
That's the current one that is out. So that is just a link to all of the RFPs. That it's not particular to this agenda, but that is the one that the board is currently reviewing.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Sure, no problem.
Thank you.
Okay, so that link takes us to a number of not just items related to this specific topic.
Right, Madam Chair, the reason that link is on the board report is if the board members or anybody from the public would like to see the original RFP that was issued, they could click on the link, go to the list, and be able to look at the original RFP.
Okay, and so it's listed by an RFP number. Is the bid number what they should look for? Bid 26-009MS?
Yes, that's the RFP number. Because
Okay.
we can either issue a request for proposal or we could issue a bid. In this case, an RFP was issued.
Okay. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you for that clarification. It's helpful.
Or I'm sorry, it is a bid. It says bid. My apologies. It's bid 26. Oh, I'm on the wrong one too. Excuse me. I was already on the next item. But no, you're correct. You can go to the solicitation number and then you're able to see what was issued and be able to read the scope of work, and it's for informational purposes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, have we exhausted discussion and questions? I'm going to move on. Thank you, Dr. Gonzalez and Renette Apodaca for those clarifications. 5.8 is consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for office equipment and related supplies, purchase and repair. And presenters are Johanna King, Chief of Communications Officer, and her staff, it appears. Is that correct?
That is correct. Good morning, Madam Chair, committee members, Superintendent Blakey. This morning we're seeking your approval to purchase office equipment and related supplies, purchases, and repairs. This would be a multi-award for 6 years at an estimated cost of $1 million using operational, federal, and capital funds. And Mr. Martinez is available, and we stand for questions.
Again, I'm scrolling through the report just to review, and so you'll have to speak up. Board Member Benavides, do you have any questions?
I do not. Thank you, Chair Dominguez.
And Board Member Tom Morito.
I do not either. Thank you.
Well, I'm happy to see some local and regional vendors on this list. So again, we've got to take care of our own too, notwithstanding the expertise that we get from others. So if we have no discussion or questions, we're going to move on. And thank you, Johanna King. Good seeing you. We're going to move on to 5.9, consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for floor covering installation services. And Dr. Gonzalez, you are on again.
Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey. We ask for your consideration of approval for this expenditure, which has met the different required components. It is for a recommended award to Harrison Contracting Company, utilizing RFP, the cited RFP that was part of the required procurement method. The estimated purchase is for 3 years at $750,000 using operational, federal, and capital funds. And I think it's key to note that this is as needed for installation of different flooring, including carpet, tile, linoleum, etc. Stand for your questions and seek your approval.
Board members Benavides and Tom Morito, any questions?
None here. Thank you.
I have none either.
And of course I do. Here it is, only because it's been raised more than once at middle schools, where they have slick floors in their gyms. So is this not that we have the money to remodel that kind of floor, but would that be included in this kind of, does this particular vendor have that kind of expertise?
Madam Chair, I'm joined by John Dufay, our Assistant Deputy of Operations, that can answer that question. Mr. Dufay?
Madam Chair, this contract does not include that. That is a specialty. Gym flooring there's 2 different types where we use either a special floor, a vinyl floor tile for middle schools or wood And we also use a called Sport Court, which is more like a tile, snap-in tile. This contract does not include this. Those are separate specialty items by a few contractors and vendors who can do that type of work.
Okay. All right. Just curious about those sorts of details. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no other discussion or comment, I'm going to move on to item 5.10, 5.10. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for floor covering sales only. Dr. Gonzalez.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey. Unlike the previous item, this is for the purchase of these materials. They did go through the required procurement process. We are recommending a multi-award utilizing the cited RFP. The estimated purchase is for 8 years at $2.4 million using operational, federal, and capital funds. We stand for questions and seek your approval.
Hey, let me get to that. Scroll down and see what my notes say. And in the meantime, fellow board members, do you have any questions?
No questions here. Thank you.
No questions.
Okay. I do have a question. We have several vendors here, but we only had Harrison Contracting on the previous bid, for lack of a better word, or so. Can you explain that?
Madam Chair, Board Members, Superintendent Blakey, we do advertise our bids and RFPs. We also use a system called Vendor Registry, where we notify vendors that have registered, and we look at our previous contracts to make sure that we notify our incumbents. So we do get the word out. As far as why only one submitted, it could be different reasons. Maybe some of the other ones did not have the labor, the manpower to be able to support a contract. Perhaps they could have dropped the ball in air department and didn't submit. So without really going out to each one of them to ask them how come they didn't submit, we make sure that we advertise it, notify them, email them, call them to let them know of the opportunity. So I don't know if John has any other insight.
Yes, Madam Chair and Dr. Blakey. The issue is what happens with a lot of the vet. We have vendors or suppliers that will supply many different products that are directly from the factory. And of course, then we need to have the installers. That's why they're separate. What happens with the installation and installers is that there are requirements that they have to meet that we have, such as when we need to do a classroom or something, we can't do it during the day and disrupt the learning time in the classroom. So what a lot of requirements are, they have to work evenings or they have to do weekend installations. And that's the lead on most of those that we require. The other issue is that they don't have the manpower a lot of times to do full wings that we require them to do, or again, this at special requirements where we have to remove the old tile and do asbestos removal if the tile's there. Then they have to be able to put the carpet on. And most of these companies don't have the ability to do this, where companies like the one that we did select that bid has that ability, and also the ability to do all different brands of carpet installation or tile or specialty tile that we utilize, non-slick, non-slip, any of those types. They can do those all, and many of them specialize in just one. And there's one reason why we only get a few bids on those.
Thank you. Thank you for that explanation. Any comments or questions, further questions? And seeing none, we're going to move on to item 511. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for general landscaping on call. And again, Dr. Gonzalez, you're on.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, we stand before you seeking your approval for this expenditure. Stand ready to answer any questions you may have and seek your approval. I am joined by Mr. Dufay, who has background in this area, who may be able to assist with questions, but in layman terms, this expenditure basically facilitates new construction, maintenance of current landscaping, and support in those associated areas.
Fellow board members, any questions, observations?
None from me. Thank you, Chair Dominguez.
Okay. I'm just going to voice some concern about having only one vendor. And I understand about our size and whatnot. But I do think, you know, I didn't major in economics, but I do know that the power of competition drives costs down. When you only have one, in these moments where we have to think of our budget costs. Yeah, and just an observation that maybe we can think out of the box and spread the wealth in our community and the talent. But I know that's easier said than done. And
thank you,
yes,
Madam Chair. One of the things that I would say in response to that as a general piece is one of the things that is complicated about some of these requests is that it's not an 8 to 5 kind of request.
Mm-hmm.
We're often asking our contractors to come in during off hours to do some of this work as to ensure that we're maintaining the integrity of instructional time with undue noise, interruption, etc. And that does pose a challenge or nuance to our partners when they're considering their ability to seek or apply for these jobs, if you will. So that's something that is very much at the forefront in terms of our responsibility in making sure that we support our instructional space.
thank you. If there are no other observations or comments, I'm going to move on to item 512. Consider approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for backflow products and supplies. And Dr. Gonzalez, you're on again.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, thank you. We are seeking your consideration of approval for this request. It is a multi-year award utilizing the cited bid and procurement method. The estimated purchase for 8 years is at $1.6 million using operational, federal, and capital funds. This request basically facilitates making sure that we are safeguarding our drinking water. It's preventing outside non-potable water from entering our domestic water system, where we have several different water systems interacting with one another, irrigation, sprinkler systems, etc., and really making sure that we are keeping drinking water clean and healthy for our students and staff. Stand for your questions and seek your approval.
And you just letting you know, I'm scrolling, and so you all have disappeared from my screen.
Yep, no questions here, but glad we're doing that.
Okay. Yes, indeed. Ronaldo, do you have any comments,
I
questions?
do not, and I also agree. I'm glad we're doing it. Thank you.
Yes, indeed. Can you tell me which of these? I know that Wind Supply, I'm familiar with Wind Supply because they took over a local company that I was working with or supporting in Las Cruces many years ago. And maybe they did the same here. So which of these is a local small company? Any?
Madam Chair, Doc Savage is a supplier. There's a number of them. They're local offices. Some of them are large, like border states, we've got a number of the vendors that they're regionally bigger companies. They're not. They'll do the Southwest, the mountain region, stuff like that. So they'll have 4 or 5 places that we're able to utilize their warehouses and utilize the product they have and get it here if it's not. So those are really nice to have that are bigger, but they're not nationwide.
Okay. So are all of these more regional than they are nationwide?
They're regional. There's like I say, Duck Savages, and those are local. And then there's a couple that are nationwide, but the big ones are regional.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to item 5.13, approval of district purchase or expenditure that equals or exceeds 500,000 for dance technique and instruction. Yay. And Dr. Gonzalez, what can you tell us about this?
Well, I'm excited to tell you, Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, that we are here for your consideration of approval for this expenditure that does exceed $500,000 for dance technique and instruction. We have gone through the procurement process required. We are seeking a multi-award utilizing the cited RFP and procurement method for a purchase of 6 years at 1.2 million using grant and operational funds. Basically, what this will enable us to do is contract with some of our local dance studios to enhance the arts in our schools. And we stand for questions and seek your approval.
Board Member Tom Morito, any questions?
I do not, but I think that's a great endeavor. Thank you.
Board Member Benavides.
No questions, but I echo Board Member Tomarito. This is fantastic and super excited about it. Thank you for presenting.
I love that Baila Baila is on there. And of course, I've been to the National Institute, the Dance Institute, and I'm so impressed with the kids that they bring into the fold. They're typically not the kids you would think would be dancers, but I love that they redefine what a dancer can be. So appreciate this. But a final question, what is this? Is this for this has to be not for the instruction, but for a facility, use of a facility? Well, I'm just trying to get a clear understanding of.
Madam Chair, members of the committee, Dr. Blakey, it will be for the instruction, contracting with these vendors to facilitate their expertise in the specialty area. As you mentioned, one example is Baila Baila and Baila Folklorico. Several schools, middle and high school, even elementaries, do contract with them to support that instruction. And we do facilitate via Facilitron based on the school's needs, before, after school support, or in some cases during the school day. It's just dependent on the school schedule and how they are interacting with the cited vendors. further art.
Okay. Okay. For some reason, I was just in capital mode because of everything that had come before. But thank you. No, this is but thank you for that clarification. Moving on. Oh, we're to wait a minute, where are we? Oh, we're at item 5.14, consider approval of August 2025 cash disbursements, and I think I do have a question somewhere. But I'm gonna allow my fellow board members to ask questions first. Board Member Tomorito.
I don't have anything at the moment. Thank you.
Thanks. Board Member Benavides.
Nothing from me. Thanks for the report.
Okay. And I had a question about, I saw under legal payments for August. Could we get a report on what Modrell Sperling was helping out with? We were consulting with them, and I noticed Walsh Gallegos. Is Kyle Robinson the specific lawyer that helped? And I'm assuming all of this is district. And my second question is, what is there a board cost here?
Okay. Madam Chair, Board Member, Superintendent Blakey, thank you for those questions. I did want to bring to your attention something that Board Member Dominguez had been asking for, and we did put in a summary table, and we also put a graph that we will continue to use this fiscal year. So you can see the different expense types, and then we have the July and the August. We did add our payroll numbers because those are big numbers that we want to make sure that the board members in the community are aware of. And we do have a listing by expense categories and each individual voucher or check that was written. As far as getting into the details of each check, that would require more research to be able to answer those. So I don't know, Superintendent Blakey, if that would go through the RFI process also?
Yes, I believe so. And then Mr. Torgerson can put together how many, oh, I see him hopping on. How many of those are administrative and board?
Yes.
Mr. Torgerson, go ahead.
We can provide a board report on that.
Okay. So legal reasons for legal expenses and board versus administrative. Okay, thank you. And this is a good start, right? The disbursement trends. And let's see, but I do have questions about the contract services. I just saw a lot of, I mean, it looks really tiny there, but if you look at the expense categories, we see a $7 million
on the actual detail listing. If you look at the detail listing, we do have the expense type there. So you would be able to align it and look for contract services, and you would be able to see the different vendors and the different amounts that go with it in the detail listing. It ties back to those categories.
Correct. It just seems like the graph doesn't capture the level of expense, right?
And we can double check that graph and make sure that it's displaying accordingly.
Well, I mean, the graph shows the first mark is 10 million. Is that correct?
That is correct. So the reason for the graph that is difficult is because our payroll is so large compared to all of the other items that if we were to put it in larger increments, it would get worse. If we put it in smaller increments, it will be really hard to read. So that's why the table is there. The only way to really kind of do that is to take payroll off of the graph, but then you're missing where the majority of the money is going. It's because of the discrepancy in how much payroll is to the next largest expenditure.
Yes, yes, correct. I mean, I understand this is an aggregate. And like I said, I appreciate this first time introduction of the graph. I guess I would like to see I'd like to see a disaggregated graph for contract services by vendor. Because that is a concern of mine. You know, one particular vendor is well represented, even though there are some others. But I think it's important to share our wealth. We are a source of wealth making. And I'd like to see Martinez and Yazzie doesn't end with our kids. I think I'd like to see their parents also included. So anyway, I do appreciate this graph and look forward to more. And so I think I will submit those RFIs, and I do think we are finished with the consent agenda items. And so do I need to make a motion about putting them on the consent agenda, or does that just happen
No,
automatically?
what we need to do now is go to 6.1 and somebody needs to make a motion considering recommending consent agenda board approval of items discussed during the September 24, 2025 Finance Committee meeting, and then list them.
Okay,
And then
so I will move on to item 6.1, and I'm not going to repeat what board member Benavides just said. And so I'd like to get a motion and a second.
I will motion, I make a motion recommending consent agenda board approval of items discussed during the meeting today. And those include August inter and intra-function transfers for grant budget, August inter and intra-function transfers for all non-categorical funds, district purchases or expenditures that equals or exceeds $500,000, including purchase of 6 buses, New Mexico produce growers, appliances, commercial and residential discount from list, office equipment and related supplies, purchase and repair, floor covering installation, floor covering sales, general landscaping on call, backflow products and supplies, dance technique and instruction, and finally, August 2025 cash disbursements. This is Board Member Benavides.
And I will second Board Member Tomorito.
Thank you. Dr. Albright, do we need it's an action item. Do we need to take a roll call vote?
We do indeed.
Okay, so we are ready for that.
Ronaldo Tomorito?
Yes.
Heather Benavides?
Yes.
Josefina Dominguez?
Yes. And with that, I'll announce the next Finance Committee meeting is going to be held Wednesday, October 22nd, 2025 at 8 a.m. virtually. You may watch on the APS Board of Education YouTube channel. And with that, thank you all for a detailed meeting and appreciate your patience and explanations.
Great job,
Have a good
Chair.
day.
Thank you, Chair Dominguez.